What is going on, guys? Welcome back to an episode of Max Tack Motorsports. Here again in the GTI. So I left you guys last time with the install of our rear strut brace. And I mean, yeah, although it wasn't perfect, still pretty happy with it. I mean, it's going to do what it has to do when I need it. So yeah, happy that part's done. Good news, we got some stuff back from Rice Rocket. So our bash bar is back now as well. Already installed it onto the car. You guys already seen it without the actual powder coating done, but you're going to see it anyways. And then I think today we're going to work on getting our oil cooler back up and running. So we're going to be taking off our small one and putting on the original one with the fan. Maybe wire up the fan today. We'll see how it goes. And then I think if we have the time, I'm going to try to get our power steering lines all sorted out. So we're going to be putting in an aftermarket power steering cooler. That's going to involve running our AN line. So we're going to run from the high pressure, power steering pump. We're going to run AN lines from that all the way into the steering rack. For that, we're going to need some PTFE fittings, high pressure fittings and high pressure line, which I do not have at the moment, but I will be getting that as we kind of go along with this. And then from there, we're going to run out of the rack into an aftermarket cooler and then back into the power steering reservoir using just regular AN lines. I mean, low pressure. We don't need anything too crazy on that side. So yeah, welcome back, guys, for another episode. Let's get to it. Alrighty, guys, look at that. That looks so good. Again, huge shout out to Rice Rocket for really, cleaning this up. I know my welds are horrible, but again, everything's nice and solid and it should do the job that we need. I did have to trim. I ended up having to trim, these sides off just a little bit here to make the bumper fit. And then I actually went ahead and shaved the entire inside of the bumper. So there's a couple like plastic inserts that go here, and then everything down here is kind of like a 3D type of print. So I actually took a sanding disc and shaved everything right down. And again, guys, you don't have to do any of this stuff if you're not doing any of that stuff. It's just my own preference. And again, using just a crappy bumper here that I picked up cheap, I have the option of doing that. So yeah, here's our cooler right here. Again, we have our fan, our small fan. This is the one that we originally had in this down location right here, but we found it was just sitting way too low and bouncing close to the ground. This is even before I even put the coilovers on. So this one, again, it's not bad, but I think it's just too small for what really needs to be done. And with how aggressive and the temperatures that this car is going to be seeing, I just want to have this back. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. Should fit okay. I actually went ahead and picked up some mounting solutions. So originally, if you guys remember when we did the oil cooling setup right here, I had some tabs that were welded onto the stock reinforcement here, and I was going to do the same thing with this, but I wasn't too big on just having a set location for where I wanted my cooler. If I wanted to move it over here or over there, depending on how my lines were sitting. Yeah, same thing with the power steering one, which will be going over there. I want to have a little bit more of a list of options that I can use to move stuff around. So I'm also going to be moving these neon lights here, or the LEDs, part of the underglow kit. I'm not too big with them being there, especially when the grill's on. You can see the lights completely. I just want to make sure that they're nice and hidden. So I'm probably going to move everything down here as well. Same thing with these lights. We'll have to put some 3M tape and all that stuff. But anyways, as far as the mounting goes, guys, I went on Amazon and I picked up these right here. So nightlight, something like that. Horizontal bar clamp mounting kit. There you go. So this is them right here. So this is the type of stuff that guys would use for the light bars and stuff like that. And I think it's going to work actually pretty well, just given the fact of where everything goes. It comes with a couple rubber inserts as well as some adapter fittings to go from, where we at here, 1 inch, 1.5, 1 3/4, 2 inch. This is sitting at a 1.5 inch bar. So I think we're gonna do with that. Should do a pretty good job. And then I made my own little tabs here. I think I showed you guys that. But yeah, these little aluminum tabs, and then we'll see how that goes. So yeah, let's get this mounted up before we take the lines off. There's going to be a bit of an oil spill going on here, so I'm going to grab the drain pan, and then that should already take care of our oil cooling setup, which hopefully will allow me to get underneath the car, and we'll start doing all the power steering stuff. Look at that. Oh man, guys, still have to do just a couple adjustments here. Got to tighten these up just a little bit. Yeah, I ended up using, what I use here, you can see here, they have all the different sizes. So you got these smaller ones here. These are obviously for your 1 inch bar. Yeah, a couple here for the 1.5, 1 3/4, and then I think the full ones all the way around are the 2 inch. But yeah, it was really tight trying to do the 1.5, so I ended up using one of the skinnier ones here and one of the medium sized ones. Seemed to work okay. And then I had to do some trimming on my brackets here. Again, guys, this is definitely not the prettiest, but should definitely do the job for what we have to do. So yeah, I'm just gonna tighten these up a bit, kind of get everything situated, and then we're gonna take off the fittings on the small cooler, switch them over to the big cooler. That way they're already good to go. And then yeah, we'll see how we're gonna do here with light running out on the power steering. We might be able just to go in there and start loosening some stuff up. So yeah, let's get to that right now. All right, guys, there we go. You can see we got our fittings all in place here. The routing lines were long enough, thank God. Unfortunately, I did have to cut some of the framing here from the rat cradle, but it's just the way it goes. Unfortunately, if I had the money and the time, you know, maybe do this fully in a tube style, the way you see on most track cars nowadays. But I don't have, yeah, the time or money of any of that stuff to really get that going. But yeah, these mounts right here, again from Amazon, guys, unreal. Like really good as far as sturdiness. They're like kind of like a metal. Everything's nice and tight, and yeah, really happy with those. But yeah, there's our oil cooling setup. Still have to do the fan wiring. We have to reroute all our underglow stuff eventually too, and then the power steering. This is the cooler we plan on using. We'll see how it's gonna fit. If not, honestly, I'm really debating on just reusing this small guy here. Might have to obviously change the fittings out and flush it out. That way everything's nice and fresh, but we'll see. So yeah, everything's starting to turn here for the weather, so I'm gonna pack everything up right now. That way I don't get caught in the storm or in the rain here. And hopefully when I see you guys next, it will be for doing the power steering setup. So sit back, hang tight. Alright guys, so just picking up from where we left off yesterday. There you go, there's the oil cooler again. Did some rerouting on the lines, but everything looks pretty good. And then now we're working on our power steering cooler. So the tube and fin 6-row pass here, which should do the job. I mean, I kind of wish I went with the more stacked setup here, just because I could use the same sort of mounting solutions. But yeah, I think I have it all figured out with this style. We're gonna mount it somewhat like this, which will allow me to run the lines right here up under the headlight like we did on that side. You guys can see there's a bit of a gap. Now obviously all the air conditioning stuff is gone, so there's a lot more room, but should work out hopefully. And then as far as mounting it on these brackets, I just made these little guys here, so just some aluminum strapping. Gotta drill a hole in, something like that. And then I'll be able to drill a couple little tiny holes through here. And then I'm not sure if I'm going to order these type of style pins or mounts for mounting the actual, excuse me, sorry, the cooler to the actual strapping. Or what I might do is I have these cotter pins. So I might try to just put the cotter pin in there, do the split. We'll see how that goes. I'm not going to get my hopes up too high with it, but you never know. Just kind of working with what I have. Like I said, unfortunately, I wish I could just build a whole tube section for the front here, but yeah, I definitely don't have the time or cash or any of that stuff for that. So yeah, anyways guys, I'm gonna start drilling these holes right here, getting all my hardware set up, and then hopefully we can at least mount this tonight. Might try to go underneath the car today to start getting some of the lines undone. If not, I'll probably try to show you guys what we're gonna have planned, at least for today's clip. As you guys can tell, again, it's just hard for me to get out every single day and really hustle on here, so I'm just trying to do the best I can for you guys. So again guys, similar to what we did over here, yep, use the two 13 mils bolt with a lock washer and obviously a nut. Everything is all nice and secure, and then we have our night lights or whatever they are, mounts on here as well, and then you can see these little tiny holes right there. So I think what I'm going to do, I'm not going to use these cotter pins just because they're bending the fins on here pretty good. Yeah, like it's not that bad, but I was able to move them back. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna have to order, I think the Rally or derail, or yeah, whatever it is, they make those zip ties or plastic cables that come out. So I think that's gonna be the best bet. And again, I kind of wish I went with more of a stack style just to kind of match everything, but with what I have, it's just the way it is. So yeah, what I'm gonna do now is I'm going to just kind of zip tie this up, so at least I can get our routing kind of sorted out. And as you guys can see here, so these things right now are -6, so -6 AN. The lines we're going to be using are going to be -8. So I'm not sure if that's really going to affect much performance, or if it's going to cause any issues. I mean, going down in size usually creates a little bit more pressure. If anything, I shouldn't be losing pressure, but yeah, we'll just see how that goes. Again, just with getting parts and stuff, it was a little tough. So what I have here from Vibrant, the 10-842, so going from a -6 to a -8 AN little expander here. We're going to toss these on, and then I'll do my zip ties, and we'll be able to see on what we're going to need for the routing. I'm going to assume I probably need a 45 here. If not, might be able to get away with a straight fitting. Definitely a straight fitting on the bottom, and then we'll see how much line we need going up. Again, underneath the passenger headlight here, we'll show you guys where we're going to mount our aftermarket power steering reservoir tank, and then where we're going to go from there, pretty much underneath the car towards the driver's side where the steering rack inlet and outlets are. So yeah, let me just get this thing all zip tied up, and then I'll put these little fittings on and we will get going on that. Alrighty, so now that we have kind of an idea of what I'm going to do here, again, I gotta definitely get those little cable things to kind of really secure it, but we get the picture. And then again, guys, you can see we went up to our -8, just as far as our cable size, or our braided line size. And then again, with the cooling aspect, this is going to be on the low pressure side of our power steering. So one of these fittings is going to run back to the steering rack, and the other one is going to run up into where the new reservoir is. So let's just say that this top one here is going to run back up to the reservoir. We're going to run around here. I'm not sure if I'm probably just going to put a hose end on that, a nice wrap through the light, and then we're going to do a nice 90 up here. And you can see that we have our Mishimoto reservoir can sitting here right now. All I did was kind of attach it to this little 10 mil kind of plastic nut here that was used for the power steering, or sorry, the windshield washer bottle. Now that I got that out, and then all I did was kind of bend just the tab just a little bit. This isn't the best orientation of what I wanted my reservoir tank to look like, but this is what I bought. So again, there's guys out there that make more specific ones for these cars, but this is what we're dealing with here. So again, we're going to run into here with the 90. This will fill up, and then we're going to run out of here with a 45 down to our power steering pump, which is down there. So what I'm going to have to do too is go from the braided line, probably going to have to at least put some sort of hose barb on the end and then make sure I fit into this line, which looks to be a 5/8 line. So I have to figure something with that, but we'll see. And again, guys, you guys can see the power steering pump down there. Now, as far as the power steering pump section goes, if you look underneath here, I know it's a little dark, but right here we have our hard line. You can kind of see right there, and you can see the banjo bolt. Sorry. Yeah, so that's the high pressure line right there. Still debating what I'm going to do, if I'm going to go out and do some high pressure fittings, the PTFE stuff, or if I'm just going to get a brand new hard line here, just because this one's kind of a little bit rusty. But yeah, you can see down here where that rubber hose is. Again, this is going to be coming from the reservoir. It's going to run to this pump. We're going to take off that sensor, get rid of this wiring here. Not going to need it. Just kind of tuck it away somewhere else. And then we're going to run all the way. Let me actually grab my phone for you guys so you guys can actually see better. There we go, that's better. So again, we're going to run off this high pressure line, perhaps with either PTFE fittings or, I don't know, maybe a brand new hard line. We'll see. But you guys can see up there, right there, there's a clip. So I've already gone ahead and loosened those up, put some seafoam deep creep in there, and then you kind of have like the OEM section of what Volkswagen used for their cooling. So it goes into that, and then runs down here into another clip, and then it goes up and over the axle. And if you look close, see if I can get you guys not upside down. There we go. And the far back there, if you look just above the rear sway bar, you'll see the two fittings. So the one that is on the bottom is our high pressure. So again, if we're going to put AN lines there, we definitely have to do some PTFE type of stuff or some sort of power flex fitting. But you can see how rusty that line is. So it's not leaking right now. That's all the seafoam on there. And yeah, so we'll have to do that. But if you look above that, that is our low pressure. So that is the return line right there, which actually runs, hopefully you guys can still see, it actually runs along the subframe here. You can see it going up to the side of the passenger side rail, and then it comes up through the engine bay and into the reservoir. So yeah, what I'm thinking, again, I just turned the light off, but the low pressure line that runs that way, I think we're just gonna run kind of backwards and kind of go underneath the engine here, and then go up towards where the cooler is, and again it'll go into the cooler and then up and out and into the reservoir. Or I don't know, or maybe I'll just follow that same routing, go along the passenger rail and in and out. We'll see how that goes. But yeah, once it runs out, again, you guys can see it right here, this line right there. This runs down towards where the steering rack is. This is your power steering reservoir, the OEM one, and then you have your line going down to the pump. So replacing this with this line right here is going to be what this line is. Again, that's the return line from the power steering rack. This line right here is going to be what this line is, which is your feed into your pump. And then we'll have our braided lines going from the pump to the rack, which yeah, that's obviously going to be the hardest part to do. But at least for now, I have an idea of what we're going to do for that. And yeah, hopefully it works out pretty good. Alrighty guys, so just continue on here with our power steering cooling setup. Again, it's been a couple days since filming the last clip, but yeah, went out and got some more stuff. So I think what we're gonna do, I got 10 feet -8 braided line here, and then we have a 90, which we're gonna use for this bottom fitting right here. And then we also have another 90, which I'm gonna use for up there. And then I'll have to grab another one as well. This is where our new power steering reservoir is going to be. Now, again, guys, if I had my choice, either get one custom made. Same thing with the bash bar in the front here. Gray Fab in the States, they make custom power steering reservoirs for you, which will allow you to run your smaller hose. So right here, this guy. So they have a perfect barb size for that, and then they have the 5/8 barb for the big one. So yeah, I mean, but for what I have, this should be okay. I'm gonna have to do some adapting as far as going from, I mean, the Dash 8 to a Dash 10, because Dash 10 only comes with a 5/8 barb, whereas the Dash 8 only goes as big as 1/2 inch. So, and I'm gonna need to, yeah, go with a 5/8 for this. So, I mean, if I had the time and the money and the skills, there's a piece that comes off the pump there at the bottom. I mean, you could always weld a Dash 10 or a Dash 8 AN end on that, but yeah, I don't have that. So, but I think I have everything set up for what we're gonna do. Again, if you're new to the Mark IVs or just doing the power steering stuff in general, just make sure you guys know your differences between your pressure side and your low pressure side. But yeah, we got everything we need. And we also got our stuff for our fuel lines, so I'm gonna have to kind of trim these up. These are from the Camaro project, which I kept. Thankfully I did. But yeah, once we get rid of this thing right here, you can see I already have a one quick connect 5/16 quick connect to a Dash 6 AN. We're gonna run a 90 off of that, and then we're gonna go into the fuel rail here with using a 90, and then we're gonna go from AN line to Barb, which will allow me just to run just a wee bit of hose to get back on the stock fuel rail. Yeah, we'll get all that done. Should look kind of cleaner when all this stuff is out. But most importantly, the braided lines, again guys, are a little bit more sturdier, so pretty happy with that. As far as this top line here goes, this is the coolant line. I'm not going to worry about doing the coolant ball delete just yet. I did pick up an actual aftermarket expansion tank, but yeah, I don't know if I'm going to do that as of right now, because I'll probably run, I mean, from here, this area right here, and then I got to run all the way to there, and then definitely at the bottom where the Y to go down to the turbo is right there. So I'm not too worried about that right now. I can always do that in the long run, but we'll see. But yeah, I gotta grab a vacuum all this crap out, and then we're gonna start taking off all the power steering. So make sure you got your bucket, all that stuff ready to go, and yeah, let's get to it. Not sure if I've shown you guys already in this video, but anyways, we're gonna start with removing those, at least the low pressure one, which would be the top one, because, you know, if I can't get those undone, then there's no point in me really going through all the effort to do all this and lose a bunch of fluid when I gotta fill back up. So yeah, we're gonna work on getting that banjo bolt out right there first, and then we'll move on to yeah, proceeding along the subframe right underneath there, and then up towards where the reservoir was. Yeah, there we go. You guys can see that now. So that's the low pressure side. Again, you can see how tight it is underneath here for me on ramps with a couple pieces of wood, really. If you have a hoist, guys, honestly, probably a lot easier. And I'm pretty sure you can actually access these two banjo bolts right here if you jack the car up and take the wheel off, and then come in like almost in line with the inner tie rods and the outer tie rods, sorry. But yeah, so at least I got the low pressure one done. I got it with this guy right here, so 3/4 or 19 mil, one of the two, on a swivel head. And then just to get an extra bit of leverage, I just kind of used the end of the wrench on, yeah, the part of the ratchet there. So I'm just gonna let this drain out a little bit. I'll be able to take that out, and then from there we're going to move this hard line. If you follow it, runs right along to here, and then into this kind of clamp, and then this part right there goes all the way up to the actual reservoir. So what I'm thinking about we're going to do is that, because this is low pressure right here, this is the spot, or this is the line that we want to run into the cooler. So I'm going to use a banjo bolt on there that converts to AN, and then if you kind of take a look right there, it kind of bends and comes down. So I have a 120-degree end fitting with my Dash 8 what's called power steering lines. So we're gonna do that, and then we're probably just gonna end up honestly zip tying it to part of the subframe, and then we're gonna move down the bottom underneath the shaft here, or we're gonna attach it to one of the charge pipes, and then we'll come out through the bottom over here somewhere and into the cooler. So yeah, let me just get this thing all nice and empty, and it'll be a lot easier to get it. Now that we got our 19 mil right there, low pressure banjo bolt undone, and we have this 13 mil clip right here. It just kind of goes on. You can see it right there actually. That was a huge pain. If I were you guys, if you can, soak it with some seafoam deep creep or some PV plaster, stuff like that, just to kind of loosen up days before you're going to do this. I didn't think it was going to be that hard, but yeah, just lucky I didn't break the stud right there, because I might actually put in, if I can, I'll clean these threads up. I'm going to put a new bolt on and a new one of these, which will allow me to at least secure the braided line a lot more easier than zip ties, or a lot more reliable than zip ties. But yeah, and then again, this goes up to the reservoir. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go to the top, take off the clamp that's holding it to the power steering reservoir, and then I should be able to pull, let's see now, should be able to pull the hard line, which is actually in really good shape. The high pressure line, yeah, not so much, but yeah, definitely the low pressure line in a lot better shape. I'll take that right out, and then I might be able to resell it or use it if I have to use it again. Try not to cut anything, guys, unless you really need to, but just make sure you have a backup plan. So yeah, let's go up top there and take it off at the reservoir, and then we can toss this baby out. So here's the line right there that goes down to the rack, so we're just gonna undo it here. Yeah, I might get some power steering fluid anywhere, or everywhere, sorry, but most of it should have drained out from the bottom of the line. So let's just unclip this here, and then I should be able to kind of maneuver hopefully the hard line up and over, either around the boost pipe here, or yeah, around here with all the fuel lines and stuff like that. I'm gonna be taking these fuel lines off anyways today, just to make room and do all the other stuff. But yeah, let's see if we can just get this thing off there, guys, and at least that this part is done. We can work on getting our one cooling line to our actual cooler done. Try to do step by step here today, and then that way at least we bang it off slow and steady. All right, so we took off this guy right here too as well. This is just like a little 10 mil. It kind of holds the power steering reservoir in place. We have that off now. Here's our line, and again, I'm going to take these fuel lines off anyways, just because I'm going to replace them. Remember, guys, they're probably going to be vapor locked, or still have some sort of fuel in them, as you can see here, a little bit in there. But I know it can be a little confusing, but just make sure you follow each one. The one that's blue, that is your return line, I think so. Let me just double check. Oh, looks like it is, yes. And then the other one right here below it, whoops, right there, that is your supply line. So again, if you go back to the actual little kind of casing thing here, the one with the blue supply line, the other one with the black nub right there, that would be your, or sorry, blue return line, and black will be your supply line. So just remember that when you get here. And then you have your green one, which is your coolant. This one you don't have to touch unless you're going to be doing the coolant ball delete, or making this into a braided line, which I'm sure you can. If you remove the fuel rail, this line actually comes right out. And if you remember when we did the SAI evap emissions delete, we capped off one at the bottom there as well. So just some thoughts for you guys as you're going along here. But yeah, let me take these things off as well. It's gonna be kind of a pain in the ass, gonna make a mess. Got some rags, and then with those out of the way, we can get this thing out too. So fuel lines are off, and again, just kind of cap them for now, guys. You don't want any dirt getting in there, especially into our brand new 630cc injectors. But yeah, I mean, you don't have to do all this, guys, when you're doing the power steering cooler stuff, but I'm just taking you on my journey as we go. And then while we have that there, I'm quickly going to put on the quick connect 16920. So again, it's a -6 to 5/16 quick connect. We already have one here on the return line, nice and snug. And let's put on this one, and then we, again, with everything kind of out of the way here, we're going to take out the hard line from the low pressure side of our power steering. All right, so just tossing this guy out here. Here we go. Oh, a little bit of leakage. Oh, get that into the thing. Oh boy. Okay. Well, there you go. There's the one low pressure line. That's out. Whew, we got that. Actually came up pretty good for what I thought it was going to be like. Again, if you guys take that wheel off on the side, it might be easier. Definitely have someone else to help you too. One person to push it up through the bottom here, and then yeah, you can grab it from the bottom. So yeah, that's out now. Again, let's quickly just take a look at everything. We're going to kind of clean up the area, and then we're going to start our braided lines.